The dress code has been changed in the Senate for one man, John Fetterman. And should the rules have been changed so this one man can slovenly hobble about in his hoodie and shorts? No, they should not have been changed this way. And I oppose dress codes to a certain degree. This one's gotten a lot of attention, and I've gotten over 1,000 responses on Twitter. So I thought, let's talk about the Senate dress code, formality, decorum, etc., and why I oppose dress codes. Think that John Fetterman should not be wearing shorts, but this idea that you have to wear a formal suit or something like this, no, I'm opposed to all that. But let's break it down. It's a great discussion. I see a lot of people are telling me that I'm wrong. They're commenting saying, no, people must wear suits. For this is high office. You must be presenting yourself in a professional manner. Well, I agree. I just don't agree on a formal dress code, but I'll explain. There can be a dress code. I just said formal one, which means you can say something like you have to wear a shirt, you have to wear pants, you cannot be stained, you cannot be gross, you cannot be filthy, you cannot be dirty, blah, blah, blah. What I don't appreciate is everyone must wear some suit or something or a tie. And this seems vague and illogical. But let's break down John Fetterman. And then I want to talk to you about the issues I take with formality and what I love about this country. Here's the story from the Philly Inquirer. John Fetterman can now wear shorts on the Senate floor thanks to dress code rule change. The new rule, or lack of a rule, takes effect this week. It will allow Fetterman to wear his signature outfit in the Senate chambers. That's right. His signature outfit of jogging shorts, sneakers, and a hoodie. Okay, whatever, man. I mean, dude, at least wear pants. The hoodie is, I don't know, whatever, but at least wear pants. Come on. You can put on some slacks, dude. John Fetterman can now wear his signature shorts and hoodie. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer quietly directed the chamber's sergeant at arms to no longer enforce the Senate's already informal dress code, Axios reported on Sunday. Senators are able to choose what they want to wear on the Senate floor. I will continue to wear a suit, Schumer told Axios. The new rule, or lack of a rule, takes effect this week. We get it. We know about his clothing and how he dresses, whatever. The old rule requiring business attire, which typically means coat and tie for men, still applies to Senate staffers, according to Axios. I do not care to play this game of pretense. First, the rules shouldn't be changed for one guy because he wants to wear jogging shorts. Second, if you change the rules, it must apply to everyone. That means staffers shouldn't be forced to dress up if you're going to allow Fetterman to do this. But you see, my issue with all of this is always the rules for thee, but not for me. That's why I also oppose formal dress codes. I don't oppose dress codes. I oppose formal dress codes. I'll explain that in a second, but please, by all means, comment below and give me your arguments. You might want to hear what my position is in full, but I want to read the story for you and give you a bit more context. They says there isn't actually a formal dress code written down anywhere. The Inquirer learned earlier this year when Fetterman took office. That makes the dress code more of a custom enforced at the discretion of the sergeant at arms. Ross Baker, a Senate historian and political science professor at Rutgers University, noted around Fetterman's inauguration that the lack of an official dress code has meant plenty of senators have been able to show off their style. Western senators in cowboy boots and string ties. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse in Puma sneakers. When he's not in D.C., Fetterman has also exclusively gone casual. I couldn't have gone to the Senate without Bob's support in 2022, and Bob won't win in 2024 without help from us. Whether you're team hoodies or team suits, a fundraising email read. Here's Fetterman wearing a suit and sneakers. Or sneakers of some sort. I don't know, whatever. The guy next to him is wearing similar shoes or something like that, whatever. Some Republicans immediately lambasted the rule change, calling it disrespectful to the decorum of the Senate. The Senate no longer enforcing a dress code for senators to appease Fetterman is disgraceful. Full stop. I agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. It should not be that they're dropping this because one guy wants to wear jogging shorts. That's stupid. However, there should not be a requirement that you wear specific clothing like a coat and a tie. This results in stupid nonsense. Some people wear coats and bolo ties or string ties, as they mentioned. But let's break this down. Marjorie Taylor Greene says dress code is one of society's standards that set etiquette and respect for our institutions. Stop lowering the bar. Former U.S. Rep. Justin Amash, a longtime Republican who became a libertarian, said, awful. The Senate chamber isn't your home, a gym, or an outdoor park. If you can't dress professionally for work on the floor of the Senate of the United States, then do us all a favor and get a different job. I agree. Where I disagree, Fetterman should be allowed to dress as he wants. However, my statement is as such. What did I say on Twitter? Actually, I don't know if I have the tweet pulled. Here's what I said. I oppose dress codes based on some kind of formality. Dress codes for decency are fine, such as requiring a shirt, pants, shoes, etc. Fetterman should be allowed to whatever he wants within reason. Now, the immediate response, I'm assuming this is just a straw man bad take, Ian Miles Strong saying Fetterman should be allowed to wear a Speedo at the budget hearing. Sure. Nobody made that argument. My argument is that if Fetterman wants to wear like blue jeans and a t-shirt, he should be allowed to do it. You should be allowed to wear whatever you want within a more relaxed set of guidelines, meaning I do believe there should be a dress code. I don't believe it should be coat and tie. The idea that everyone has to wear a suit, it's pretentious. This idea that we're better men when we get elected. No, I don't care. I've never cared for that. I won't start caring for that. And just because Fetterman is the guy that people don't like, I'm not going to just come out and be like, no, it's bad. He should be wearing a suit. That's stupid. I'm the dude, and everyone's pointing this out, who showed up to the White House wearing a hoodie and a beanie. And they're like, I can't believe you would do that. What do you mean if you can't believe? Of course I would do that. Why? Listen. I believe you should look well, okay? If you've got a shirt that's ripped and stained and it's got mustard on it, okay, that's the line for me, right? You got to do better than that. But here's my problem across the board. Do we want a nation ruled by elites of means and wealth, or do we want a government for, of, and by the people? And this is where I come on this one. This is where I stand. When you have people who are wealthy, millionaires getting elected, it's very easy for them to say, I'll go get a new suit. Some people can say, look, man, you can get a cheap suit. It's not that hard. You can get a suit jacket from a thrift store. You can do something like that. And I'm like, okay, fine. But they have to pay for it. Now we run into this problem. Ooh, they means you. If the Senate chamber wants you to dress a certain way, meaning you have to physically acquire something that you may not have, I don't like that idea. In which case, the solution is, okay, fine, but you pay for the suit. That means the taxpayers pay for the suit. If that's y'all's compromise, I'm good. If the argument is you want to go to the Senate and you got to wear a suit, fine. But it should come out of the budget for the Senate to do so, to make sure that we are not telling someone you can't be in here voting because you don't have the right clothes. And now people can come to me and they say, oh, come on, if they get paid $174,000 a year, they can afford to buy a suit. That's not the point. The point is, you want to be able to represent your people. You do want to have some standards. That's why I said pants. No shorts, Fetterman. I don't agree with that. A Speedo? Come on, that's a straw man. But you need to understand one thing. Donald Trump, well done steak with ketchup. That's right. And everybody cheered for it. All the Trump supporters laughed and cheered for it. Is that decorum? Trump going to a fancy restaurant and saying, I want my steak well done with schlop ketchup all over it. I'm exaggerating, right? But he said he ordered a well-done steak with ketchup and he got made fun of. And I laughed and I said, you don't get it. Regular working class people, they're not going to Capitol Grill and ordering the filet mignon Oscar style. They're going to Walmart, buying the steak they can afford, cooking it the only way they know how, and they put ketchup on it. Why? Ketchup tastes good, right? Me, I gotta be honest. I like probably a good ribeye. Yeah, no, probably a filet mignon, tenderloin. And I do prefer my tenderloin Oscar style, for those that are familiar. It's basically like a crab thing they put on top or whatever. I'm in Maryland. We're in Maryland, West Virginia. So when you go out to the steakhouses here, they got the Oscar style and everything. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the average person is living this life of luxury. So when Donald Trump, he does wear a suit, goes to a restaurant and orders something that regular folk can understand or relate to, he's championed for it. I think you need to understand that embrace. John Fetterman wanting to wear a hoodie and gym shorts is a step too far for me. Okay. And changing the rules for one guy because it's also a step too far for me. Understanding there is no formal dress code. Well, okay, fine. Here's what I think. Dude can at least wear some khakis and a polo or something like that, right? Like business casual. I hate these terms anyway. I've got no problem with a t-shirt and jeans. If you want to argue it's got to be tucked in, fine. If you want to argue it's got to be clean, fine. Just understand there is a line. The line that I'm trying to navigate here with this story is, are we creating a separation between the people who represent us and the people? Are we putting things out of reach for the average person? AOC was a bartender. She gets made fun of for that. I celebrate that. I think she's evil. Okay, telling people that migrants will come and displace their homes and take work away from them with a smile on her face as they're yelling at her. She's evil. But coming from being a bartender is a good thing. I don't believe that the Senate should be elected by the public. I believe the 17th Amendment should be rescinded. The general idea from the founding fathers was that we must have better men. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't necessarily disagree, but I think we got to be careful what that means. If the general concepts we have in this country are that it's a government of, for, and by the people, then recognize that the average working class person, the populace, those who would challenge the corporations are not going to be of the same means. That it is the Pelosi's worth $200 million who get access to these systems and control it to their own benefit. You think they're going to ban stock trading for themselves? It's not going to happen. So it is perfect for AOC coming from being a bartender. Yeah, she's propped up for sure. But I want to see more regular people. And you know what? Fetterman's embracing it. And that's the angle they're going for. Despite the fact the dude's got a brain injury and he suffers from it, makes it difficult for him to do his job. There's a lot of reasons I don't think Fetterman should do this job. I think he's terrible at what he does. I don't think he's very smart. But the angle they are taking politically is to go down the route of, look at him, he's just a regular working guy. Why? The Democrats are losing regular working class people up in Pennsylvania. They need that for 2024. And I would say this. A lot of these guys, Democrat voters, probably should be voting Republican based on today's politics. These are just union guys. They probably believe in traditional family values. They probably got guns. But they work in factories and they're concerned about getting steamrolled by manufacturing. At this point, I think Trump's your guy. They're going to move your factory overseas. Just give it time. You don't want that. Fetterman is their path towards getting this voter base. I am not saying he's going to be convincing them, but they are trying. Don't give them freebies by being like, he's slovenly and gross. That's what they're saying. Now imagine what you're doing when you say this and you're falling for their tricks. How many dudes up in, Western PA or just PA in general, and Trump needs to win these states. I don't know if he's gonna. How many of these guys like to just wear jogging shorts and a hoodie? I mean, I don't know why. I don't understand the hoodie and shorts. It's like kind of paradoxical in a sense. Some people do it, it's whatever. But how many of these guys feel insulted now that Republicans are coming out and saying it's slovenly? Don't fall into the same trap that Trump set for them. When they came out and said Trump it was laughable that he had a well done steak with ketchup. It was a 30-day dry aged steak, fancy as they come, well done with ketchup, and they mocked him for it. They were insulting the poor working class of this country, saying the way you live is silly, stupid, and laughable. And then the regular people saw Trump. And it's not so much about whether or not you expect Trump to eat well done steak with ketchup. It's about how they insulted you. So Trump does this. The average working class person might be like, come on, man, just get the ribeye. Get a medium rare ribeye. Come on, you can afford it. But then the media came out and said, oh, what a pathetic imbecile. Well done with ketchup. And then you get a regular guy being like, hey, come on, man. Why are you spitting on me? I work hard every single day. I do the best I can for my family. The steaks we buy, maybe they're not that good. I try my best. We want to put ketchup on it. Makes it taste better. Don't insult me because you don't like Trump. Now, again, I'll say it. Fetterman should wear pants. I think it's silly. I think you should be allowed to wear what you want to wear within reason. That is, clean pants and a shirt. That's all I'm saying. Changing the rules for Fetterman. I get it. They're like, this one guy comes in, all of a sudden they're like, we're going to give it to him. But the game they're playing is they want you to insult a guy who dresses this way so that in the media, all the Republicans, and they're all doing it, are saying he looks slovenly and disgusting and it's poor. And they want Republicans to come off as hoity-toity elitist. Many of them are. Me, I'm not going to do that. Literally don't care. If Vermin Supreme went into the Senate, I would be much happier than the average senator. He could put the boot in his head and everything. You get someone to go in the Senate dressed up like Count Chocula or Chef Boyardee, and they say end the war machine and stop and cut these no liability contracts to big pharma, I'm going to be like, bro, I don't care what you're wearing. I really don't. I understand decorum. I've actually been critical of Trump in that regard. My standard is just lighter than many people's, but I do agree with it. And that agreement is your clothes should be clean at the very least. And I don't agree with shorts. I don't agree with shorts. You should wear pants, right? But again, that's my point. My point is here. Don't fall into that trap. I envision a country where you got a farmer and he's got overalls and they're dirty. And he's got a straw hat and he's working, and he shows up to a city meeting just after work. And you know what they say? They say, you can't come in because you're dirty. And he says, I work to the bone every single day to make food for everyone here. And you stab me in the back with your policies and your taxes, and they don't even let him speak. Why? Because he's a working class guy. This is what my concern is. It is the rich elites who are going to have the clean, well-pressed suits, not the plumber who's going to have to take off work early, get his clothes pressed, and spend money to try and impress these people in Washington. I'm telling you, man, this is what I can't stand. I want a guy to walk into the Senate, and when they're like, sir, you are filthy, you've got oil on your hands, he goes, yeah, it's because I work. It's because I fix things, I build things. And all the people here in this chamber, you're all millionaires who make money off of our backs with insider trading, selling us out to foreign interests for money, and they can afford the nice things. This is what I don't like. I'll say it again. Fetterman is not that. Fetterman is not this guy. Sorry, he's not. But I want to make sure we're clear when we're talking about this stuff. My position is more so, if a dude is getting off work at 5 p.m. and he looks at his watch and he says, the city council meeting, the Senate hearing is going to be at 6 p.m. I got 30 minutes to drive after I get off work. Should he take off work? No. He should do his responsibilities. He should do his duty. But let's say this guy's an electrician, a carpenter, or otherwise. He's got dirt or something on him. Little dirty. Well, should he go, I wanted to go and testify at this hearing and speak about what's affecting my community. But you know what? I got to be honest. I'm a little dirty. My pants are filthy and I got my shirt's ripped. So I guess no speaking at this event for me. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about that I have concerns about. Either way, we can make our arguments about the Senate and all that stuff and better men. I'm just saying I don't agree with wearing a coat and a tie and all that stuff. Fetterman is not representing these people legitimately. He is not a guy who just got off work and can't wear a suit. We know, we understand the dude can wear a suit. He has done so in the past. It's not a big deal for a guy who's got one who can just do it. My point more so is twofold. Don't let them bait you into insulting regular people who don't want to or can't afford suits. How many people in this country are living paycheck to paycheck? And I don't want to hear that like, oh, come on, you can find a suit, maybe at a thrift store. But I've met too many people who are hurting right now who struggle. And I don't think it's appropriate to say you don't have the right outfit to come and speak and represent or whatever. Then fine. I would agree on the compromise of the Senate should pay for a wardrobe budget, meaning it's going to be 2 or 3 suits, not one, because you can't just have one suit. That's the other thing. You can't just have one. Okay. You wear one day, it gets dirty. What do you wear tomorrow? You've got to get them cleaned. You got to get them pressed, dry cleaned, etc. You're going to need more than one, maybe 3 or 4. So you can have them in rotation. Fine. If y'all want to pay for that as taxpayers, I have no problem whatsoever with a dress code, 100%. I just want to make sure that we are not cutting people out because they don't fit in with the elites of K Street or Wall Street. That's what I don't like. And don't get tricked into insulting these people, into insulting regular people. That's the angle Democrats are trying to take. But whatever, man. I think ultimately it comes to this. Look, make your arguments, comment, whatever. Most people responding are telling me that I'm wrong. Decorum is not a requirement, but humans will judge others based on their looks, says Martha Bueno. This was my critique of Gary Johnson when he was campaigning. I completely agree. You are wearing clothes to target your demographic. If you're running for president, you may lose out on votes if you look like a slob or unprofessional or low status. I'm not a fan of how that works, but it's the way it works. That being said, John Fetterman's angle here is to try and get Pennsylvania Rust Belt working class guys to vote Democrat instead of Republican. And you've got to be careful about what you say about these guys. I've seen a bunch of tweets already responding to other tweets being like, hey, look, I'm up in the Western PA. Me and all my friends, we dress like Fetterman dresses. Like, don't tell us that we're slobs. Don't tell us that we're not worthy of our speech or our statements or things like that. I am not saying you can't request decorum. You just got to be respectful when you do it. Jennifer Zilla said, Fetterman and I have a lot to disagree on, and his hoodie is not one of those things. I too work on Capitol Hill much of the time, and it's either hot or freezing. There's a lot of walking. Wool suits and ties make no sense at all. A new uniform is overdue. I'm curious. Jay Viper says, agreed, but I will say this. Why change the entire dress code just for him? Can't they just accept a medical exception if there's an actual problem with his wearing tight clothes? No, he can wear a suit. He didn't want to do it. They are targeting working class people. That's the game they're playing. Linda says, wear a nice summer dress or summer suit and deal with it. It gets hot where I live too. Big deal. Wear a coat in the winter. Basketball shorts and a hoodie is not okay. Do better than that. Be casual, but still within nice slacks, etc. That's exactly what I'm saying. The dude could easily pick up a polo shirt for a couple bucks and some slacks. And I think that's not asking too much of anyone. If he wants to wear something that looks more like work attire for a working class guy, I'm also totally okay with that. If he showed up wearing, if a farmer showed up wearing overalls, I'd be like, look, man, I'm not going to tell a guy who's wearing what he wears to work he can't wear it in here when he's speaking to the American public. But look, man, I don't know. It is what it is. I can't believe I got 20 minutes on this. It's so stupid. 1,000 responses to my tweet that he can wear whatever he wants within reason. It's weird that I said I oppose dress codes based on formality, but dress codes for decency are fine, requiring shirt, pants, shoes, etc. And then I get Ian Malstrong being like, he should be able to wear a Speedo. I mean, I'm assuming he's being sarcastic and snarking as a straw man, but maybe he genuinely thinks he should wear a Speedo. I don't think Fetterman should be allowed to wear a Speedo, but I certainly hope he tries to, because politically, that'd be very damaging for Democrats. Let them wear what they want to wear and show their true colors. My point is, the dress code should be substantially more relaxed. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.